Hi. Tim. My name's Tim.
Oh, okay. You look like my neighbor Bill. Oh. Sorry. You look like a
Hi.
You never write to me.
Wait. Oh. I haven't been on my phone a lot lately.
How you doing?
Good. Yeah, my kid's been on my phone more than me lately.
You what?
My kid, he's been on my phone more than me lately.
It's warm in there, ain't it?
I got seeds in the back of the rough. such an unusual township, aren't they?
It's actually becoming a pretty common occurrence in Michigan.
Really?
Yeah.
Hey, guys.
Pull the staple before you whitewood it. I said pull the staple before you whitewood it.
No, I still have fire with it.
I don't think shit like that. There's a person I was hoping to run into.
How you doing?
I'm doing well. This is yours to keep.
Okay.
That is the, there's no such thing as privacy in the public. So, in case anybody asks in the future, that's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Give me a second. It's a written letter to the editor. It hasn't been published yet, but.
Thank you.
So how's your month going?
Okay, actually.
Good.
Okay, at 7 o'clock, let's go ahead and call the meeting to order and answer priorities.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Agenda are any gaps. This evening we have Mr. Mike Wertmeyer from the Raymond Group and certified accountant. He gives us your date on the reconciliation.
Would you speak up?
Okay, can everybody hear me okay? Okay, we ready? Yeah. So, thanks for having me this evening. My name is Mike Birchmeyer. I'm from the Saginaw office of Raymond. I'm part of the public sector solutions practice, which much of what we do in addition to outsourcing is to come in and help local units of government. When we've been in situations like this, where the bank reconciliations in the general ledger are not, we've fallen behind in reconciling, we've fallen behind on audits. So these are things that we've done for multiple communities in the past, and that's what we're working with the township on. I'm sure most of you are aware of some of the challenges, but just a quick recap before I get into the detailed report that was provided in all your packets. So the books were at a state where your previous auditors, as of March 31st, 2024, could issue an audit opinion, which is good, so that's where we started at, was in April of 2024. Started looking at the records because, at this point, we had the full fiscal year that ended March 31, 2025. This is a lot of dates, but while this is important, is the state of Michigan requires 6 months following your fiscal year end, you need to have an audit filed with the state. So that deadline would have been September 30th, 2025. So the township's late on that audit. We've already moved, into your fiscal year that ends March 31, 2026. So we definitely don't want to have 2 audit years open if we can avoid that. So there's really a 2-part process here. One, do what we need to do to make sure that the records are caught up and complete up until today. But then the other thing that we're looking at too is, how we got to this point and what we can do moving forward so we can stay current. It doesn't do any good if we only focus on cleaning up old things that we're continuing to have that happen over and over again. One thing is looking through this, and before I go into the report, just at a very high level, it's not that there weren't any entries recorded in the general ledger. We have had work has been being done, which just hasn't been finalized. But we have, as time's going on, there's some months where we have, we have multiple transactions recorded for one entry. We have sometimes where we're missing something. So it's a wide mind as we're talking through all of this. Let's say so we switch to the actual status update, and we can certainly go through the full four-page report. I can also summarize some of it as well, but each one of the bolded bullet points are corresponding to line items that we had in our proposal, things that we were going to do, for the township in this process. The phase one was the financial record assessment and the immediate remediation. So we're going to evaluate the current state of the township's financial records. This part is complete. So over the last few weeks, we've looked at your general ledger system, the SMA, bank statements, journal entries, and like I said, we've met with the supervisor, clerk, and the treasurer, just to understand, where we're at, what we need to do to get the records caught up. Most financial records do exist in hard copy form. In looking at just a summary of some of the transactions, you see, challenges with accuracy, completeness of documentation, and efficiency of processes on various transactions. There are processes in place, many of which have been from conversations with the township over 10 years, which may have made sense at that time, but this is 10 years ago. We have a new online system, which is good, which allows for a lot of online central repository information, so you don't necessarily need as much hard copy, as many hard copies as you previously had, or you can scan those transactions in. We think that, so we have hard paper that's good as a secondary source, but it sometimes make it a little bit more challenging to try to locate when there are questions. We did notice that while transactions often were being occurred or were being posted, sometimes they weren't necessarily timely, or earlier on in fiscal year 24-25, we had some instances where we had one transaction posted multiple times. So a lot of these things are communication. Like I said, once those are caught up and we have a process in place moving forward, where everyone realizes two of the main things that we've been focusing on right now have been the allegations, working with the treasurer. This template makes sense for everybody. This is the support behind the transaction, which will then go to the clerk as her statutory duty to report those transactions, or we'll be working with the clerk to review, make sure that it makes sense. So at the end of the day, we want this process to work for everybody, and we want to make things. And this is all for moving forward. We'll recommend entries to correct previous months, and get the supporting documentation we need those transactions. Moving to page 2, the address urgent corrections, including but not limited to the outstanding bank reconciliations. When we're talking about bank reconciliations, that's making sure the general ledger agrees to the actual bank statements. We haven't seen cases of where we have to make a transfer for payroll from one account to another. Those are being done. So on the bank side, which is good. I mean, we're not bouncing checks, but we need to make sure we're recording those transactions. So we had 32 bank codes established in BSNA. So that would translate to, if every one of those were active, we have 384 reconciliations in a year, which is a lot more than what really the township staff should have. 3 or 4 would maybe be the minimum, but we wouldn't need that many. Working with the treasurer, 12 of these have already been closed. They're active in the system because we still have reconciliations that are open. When those are closed, we'll get rid of those transactions. or get rid of those general ledger accounts as well as update the bank accounts that have been closed. So that leaves about roughly 20 bank accounts left. The majority of those are investment accounts where we're holding money. It really is just interest income in those accounts. Only 5 of those have a lot of activity, which is primarily the payroll, the general fund, the fire, water and sewer. The payroll account, because there's the most transactions going through in that had the most challenges with getting it reconciled. So to date, we reviewed all the activity for the payroll account for your fiscal year 25. So that would be April 2024 through March 2025. And we're preparing an analysis of what entries need to be posted. There's certain ones that need to just be reversed because they're either duplicates or they were for the correct amount. We hope that the thought would be, because once that account's corrected, some of the general and fire won't have that many more transactions that need to be corrected or updates made. Because we have not seen, one of the first steps we did in the process too was we looked at every single bank statement to see when there was money coming in or money coming out from other sources, like state of Michigan, state ship revenue, a little bit with property taxes. And we're seeing those transactions being recorded, which is good. So the thought would be, once these payroll entries are posted, we would hope that it would go quicker for those other accounts. And like I said, we'll have recommended journal entries to fix that. The review and correction of journal entries, like we said, we're in the process of doing that now, working with the clerk and treasurer on that. And as we fix the journal entries, that's going to correct the general ledgers. On to page 3, and I'm trying to just get the highlights here, but for phase 2 of the project, and talked a little bit about this already, but this process improvement and control implementation. The first couple are in progress, which is review and recommend changes for efficiencies and implement appropriate controls within the township. And then the second being review and recommend changes to access controls and policies, including overall parameters and responsibilities within departments. That's kind of a wordy comments, but the first step of that is creating these templates. We said everyone has understanding of and agrees that this is what we need. This is what needs to be provided for documentation. This is the forms we're going to use. And currently, it's done by the treasurer's office, approved by the clerk's office. And I think that'll be fine moving forward in the short term. A long-term recommendation that we always have is you want to have things as streamlined as possible. Ideally, we want, when we have any sort of transaction, we want it entered one time, preferably in the system with the support attached that will electronically go to the second person to review and approve. Because anytime it's handwriting or using a template writing things out, there's just a chance for transposition errors, which is some of what we've seen historically here. So I think that's where our recommendations would ultimately be, which that would mean that everyone has some sort of access within the general ledger. But that's, I think once we get this initial process in place, that would be a step 2. One that we're still determining this is analyze the current system in place related to all significant accounting functions and potentially develop a detailed accounting manual to be utilized township-wide to effectively and efficiently process accounting transactions. We don't know if we necessarily need to do that yet. And then along the same lines, the second piece of that was to develop and implement policies and procedures to standardize the accounting functions. Just a couple other notes. We have the 2022 quarter four federal 941 withholding payment issue with the IRS. The clerk let us know that she received a letter from the IRS. Obviously, this was at this point from 3 or 4 years ago, long before the issues with fiscal year 2025 started. We see this from time to time with clients. Our recommendation at the time was to make the payment and then get a hold of the IRS. And while they don't have as many agents now as they have before, we've had good luck in the past with working with organizations where we have an IRS agent assigned to us to say, hey, they'll usually work with local units of government. If it's something to either, at a minimum, waive any sort of penalties and fees you might have, and it's often, it's not always local units mistake either. Sometimes it's IRS. I've had cases where they've made mistakes and applied payments to the wrong quarters, which can snowball from.
I kind of think that's what may have happened, because I did see that payments were made.
Yeah, you're right. We saw that too. So we made payments, we pay this, and then it halts the process, and they can't continue to levy any sort of penalties or interest. And then there's always, you go back and petition to have those removed. Like we made a good faith effort. And definitely it was in the case of, where it was their mistake, and it's an easier point to make with them. And then the only other, issue where we worked with the clerk and treasurer on this, and this was, say a lot of these things can be chalked up to miscommunication, and this is one from our end too. This is just on a small thing. We talk about with the mobile home park, trailer park tax collections and distributions. We had a recommendation that was just ideally, these are, we'd like to see both of those properties have some sort of a support work paper every month. They've historically not done that. That's not uncommon, with Township. So, and this is a good example of having a process in place. So it was, we didn't want to say, full payment. We talked with the county about this too. It's just, this would be a good thing to have for support purposes. But that was just another good recent example, where we can, sometimes we've had miscommunication on things. So we don't, if we have, we want to make sure that at least if moving forward that we're, payments are made making payments timely. So again, we appreciate the patience of the board, appreciate the clerk and treasurer spending a lot of time working with us. I was out here with the treasurer last Thursday looking through, we have this, through the historical records from April of 24, through today. And like I said, we may have individual transactions as we go through, like, for instance, a general checking account that we may have questions on, but, like I said, our initial focus was getting the interest earned on all the investment accounts up, those transactions posted in the general ledger, with that process in place, and then get the payroll bank account reconciled. And then we'll, if we need to, we'll address those as they come up. So with that, I apologize, I was pretty wordy, but I'm happy to take any questions that anyone has.
Yeah, I have a couple questions. The first one is, the board delayed reaching out for a third party in an attempt to not spend the money,
Right, sure.
reconcile with him, right?
Mm-hmm.
Based on what your team has encountered, do you believe that could have been feasible? To complete it,
They had to have it all done internally.
Yeah.
Of course, this would seem disingenuous since I'm the one doing the work now, but trying to step back, I would say if it was a few months behind, maybe you could catch up. But it's, I mean, we're talking 18, 19 months. It's just, it's really difficult at that point to do all of your day-to-day work and duties in addition to trying to catch up all that information. But that is normally what we see from, from local units of government. They'll first, wait, try to get it, corrected and fixed. And auditors are helpful, but at the same time too, they're supposed to be auditing, books and records, so they can only do so much and remain independent. Yeah, I mean, hindsight being 2020, it would have been, if we were 6 months ago, that would have been better, but, that's pretty typical, that at least, try to make an effort on your own, internally first to get things corrected.
So, you just said that you've seen this other places. Is this a common problem between townships?
Would you speak up?
You said that, you've seen this other places. So my question is this a common problem with townships and elected officials, or is this just our township got out of control?
No, it's a common issue. I would say things have gotten, at the state and federal level, reporting-wise, more complicated over the years. Like I said, many local townships are, trying to work with processes. And the good thing is the township invested in the most current version of what we would consider to be the best software for any local unit of government in the state of Michigan. So those are all positives. But no, I mean, this is an issue that we see it, all over the state of Michigan. From small townships and up in the Porcupine Mountains that don't have a lot going on, but they still, same sort of thing, it can snowball. And that's the other challenge with township form of government too, because with the election cycles, you could have some communities where everyone rolls off at the same time. You have all new elected, you have all new clerk, treasurer, supervisor, all, and they're trying to piece together, and they may not realize. So that's, I'd say that's definitely a positive for Lee Township, is that you have that continuity on the board. At least everyone is still here, that we're here when we're for the months that we're going back to look at and get corrected. So,
Mike, I have a question. You said you are working on the template for the interest allocation.
Yes.
Is it almost complete? Because I'd like to get caught up on that.
I looked at it today again one more time. So, yeah.
Appreciate it.
Do you have a rough estimate how much has been paid to the IRS for penalties and interest? Just roundabout number.
Roundabout number, I would say is less than $1,000. If I remember, I don't have it in front of me, but.
$2,287.57.
And in that instance, it was allegedly paid, or it appeared to have been paid. And so my understanding.
So in the township's records, it has been paid, right? So, but until you can get an agent assigned to your case to work through it, the same thing with the mid-sized city in the greater Lansing area where they had $100,000 of penalties and interest, and once I had an agent that we could work with and show them that payments were made, and that was, in their case, that was the issue, was they were late, 5 years before when, things kept were chronically being posted at the wrong periods, and in the IRS system, so it was constantly triggering, penalties. So, which is why that's always our recommendation, is to pay it and go back and work with it, because they can't, even if we had a specific agent assigned to the township's case right now, they wouldn't be able to stop they would be unlikely they'd be able to stop the penalties if we still had outstanding amounts due.
Which makes sense.
So, do you think if the communication was better, and more effective, that we would be in this position, or do you just think, I mean, what is your opinion on how we got here?
Well, I mean, so I think if we, like I said, I keep saying templates, but the templates and the support everyone is in, it makes sense for everyone that's involved of what they need, what needs to be prepared, what they need to see to review. There's expectations on when things are, posted into the system. We have defined roles on who's posting, who's recording what in the general ledger and when they're going to do it. I would think we'd be able to correct this moving forward. I mean, people say accounting is straightforward. In some ways it is, but it's not. There's always improving communication would be great. Because even with the best templates and procedures, sometimes things are still going to go wrong. And it's no fault of anyone in the township either. Bank could kick back someone's ACH for someone's check, and it comes back and it's like, okay, well, how do we handle that? So, that's one of the things that we're looking at is, how can we, improve the timeliness of it. Like I said, there's different options for that as well. We have deputies that we can leverage some of that too as well, but, that plus, like I said, we're still trying to follow, processes that I'm sure worked fine, when they were put in place, but I mean, things are always changing, so.
I was gonna say, so just from what you have in here, barring anything else unexpected, you are predicting that we can at least have all the reconciliations done by the end of this quarter, by the end of our fiscal year.
Yeah, that's what's happening.
That was what I planned.
Yeah, that's the goal now. I had one of my team members put part of this together. Of course, he's much more deeply involved in the details. And I laughed a little bit. I'm like, I normally wouldn't put that in a report, and I'm like, well, I put it in there, we'll keep it. But yes, like I said, the big because the first step we already went through all of the transactions in the general ledger, which is why this takes a while. For each one of the cash accounts, we could see where transactions from the bank were being posted. So we know that for the bulk of the thousands of transactions have been recorded in there. Now there may be sometimes there's duplicates or entries that don't need to be there that we can reverse out. Of course, there'll be an audit trail for all of that. But yeah, that was where we were seeing the most discrepancies was in that payroll account, which touches every single one of the bank accounts that have folks that work that are being paid by the township. So yes, that's the thought process. Thank you. Yes, Sharon.
I have another question, just for us in the community. So, on all of this, can you pinpoint the number one major source of outcry? I hear things being thrown out as communication or this or that, but what is the number one thing that you can contribute so that we just as citizens, residents here, kind of know what is going on and what would be the number one factor?
Well, I mean, so we like I said, we've touched on this multiple times, but it is communication. But a lot of that stems from, things slowly get behind. That definitely causes stress. Like we said, the 2024 audit report was issued. It was issued late, but it was issued. That's good. It's a slippery slope from the standpoint. You can just get a little bit behind. And like I said, there are always going to be things that come up outside of the norm, and if you're not, if there's already challenges. I know there's challenges, obviously, but it really is the communication changing piece. And like I said too, we're still using processes that, that were in place a decade ago, and things have changed since then. So, and that's, and like even with the hard copy paper, and I'm not saying hard copy paper isn't a bad thing to have as a backup, but when we have a system where we can have records scanned electronically, and everyone is very open to doing that moving forward, but that just makes it even harder to catch up, because then we have, we're trying to look through, and I look through the boxes of information, everything is put together by month, but at the same time, it's either the treasurer or clerk, whoever is holding those records, has to go through and pull information from those months, as opposed to just looking in the system and bringing up a transaction. So, there's, I don't see any ill intentions on anyone's part.
Was there any fraud?
Well, not that I'm aware of.
Good.
So we haven't seen anything. I mean, that's not necessarily what we're looking for, but at the same time, that's why we're agreeing all the transactions from that hit on the bank statements to the ledger.
So the second part of that question, so when we talk about the oddities that come up that kind of cause a little discrepancy, somebody's payment comes up, not sufficient funds or whatever, the new system that we have, what will we be putting in place to deal with these oddities that come up that's not going to throw us into a backlog in the future, and then we have to pay this kind of money in the future to have somebody come and reconcile again?
Well, so the any sort of a standardized template we're going to use if something's returned on an ACH or we have some unusual thing, that's not going to fix that, right? But we'll be able to identify those sooner when the bank reconciliations are being done, because we know all of the transactions that we would normally have from month to month, week to week, are being done correctly. So it's going to stick out a lot sooner when we have some sort of an issue with something at the bank.
Now, will your company be staying with them for quite a period of time, working through this process as we move forward? Or is your job pretty much done at this point after you get the ledger balances done?
No, it would, as long as one is here, but I mean, the thought would be that we would,
Step 2 is the work process improvements, getting to the industry standards, right? Step 1 is
I got that. I just wanted to see what the follow through was going to be, because I know that we can pay corporations to come in. They can identify whether there's fraud or there's no fraud, or what the communication issues are, and put things in place. But sometimes they need for additional assistance as we move through the process and have corrections and errors. I'm more or less looking at the fact that we don't leave the system too early, and then the additional support that the clerk and the treasurer need to move forward and work together as a team, that they're not going to be not having that system. We have to bring it back in.
Ideally, we don't want to have to come back and do everything all over again. And that's what we do with all of our communities. So.
I do have a question too. Let's say, once we have everything caught and we develop these work processes, do you think that our clerk and our treasurer should be able to use these workflows and not get here again? Or do you think that there would be a problem with skills or training or whatnot? I mean, do you think that if we get this caught up and put these workflows in process, that we should be able to move forward without this problem?
I mean, it's possible, but that's what we'll be able to determine as we, work through putting the transactions in. If that's something that, and that's like I said too. It's we talk about all of these elected officials, and ultimately, yes, you're taking responsibility for it, but it doesn't mean you need to be able to. You take responsibility for it and not be the one processing all of the transactions. There's a variety of reasons for that too. It depends on the workload of those people. And like I said, most typically, townships where they have the
magnitude, what is the budget set aside for these services? From start to finish, we anticipate.
So we approve on an hourly basis, but we do have a $15,000 budget for our normal yearly audit that was previously set aside.
My question is, you mentioned the software and stuff like that, the concept, move forward and the really good software going on. With the workflows that you're working out currently, I'm curious if the software has features in it as well should be utilized by the township employees, all of them, to, look at things, work on workflows, maybe checklists or something each month on different things that could help with that. I'm curious.
Yes, yeah, they definitely do. I mean, something is, which seems basic, but just, when you talk, the template that you put together for, standard reoccurring entries, the system is set up to have that roll over from month to month. So all you're doing is, updating the numbers in it.
Yes, Dan?
Quiz question. On page 3, you mentioned the detailed accounting manual. That part's cool. I'm assuming that's the interaction between the clerk and treasurer and their fiduciary responsibility play well. My question to you is, are you also going to provide something to educate the township board as far as monitoring, so they know when this is starting to head towards a red flag?
That's a good question. Yes, I mean, there's definitely, standard benchmarks on, when we would expect, the bank reconciliations, for instance,
Well, my
typically.
point is, they need to know them.
Yeah, we could,
I'm just saying.
yeah, no, it's, you typically by the, third week of the following month, you'd like to have all those, you'd have everything, reconciled. Sometimes it may go a little bit longer depending on the time of the year, but, I like that idea, to have those benchmarks built in there.
Does the system do reporting, pretty sophisticated reporting?
Sure, but it's, again, it's in the reports, those are all reports that are available, but, at this point, we could run reports, but it wouldn't be, the reports are based on how good of information.
Like Dan said, to maintain our.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely, standard reports that can be customized. They have, here's our revenues and expenses prior year, here's our current year original budget, if we've had it amended, where we're at year to date, and then what's available. So.
I'm curious, in BSNA software, do they allow for a fold-up? How you got detail, subtotal, grand total? Can we kind of just, we'll gather everything, but then we can fold it and all we see are the subtotals? So I'm trying to get down to one page so it makes it easier for them to review and analyze.
So you could do either one. You could have it ran by
So
the
BSNA
fund
has a
level
capability.
revenues and expenses. You could have it by department, which would be a little bit more detail by, so if in your general fund there's multiple departments, right, you're going to have each one of those all the way down to where you have every single line item, which, admittedly can be sometimes a little bit too much to look at, but.
Sure, where I'm coming from is, it's nice if I could have just the detail. Don't give me the subtotals. Let me download it to Excel and throw it into a pivot table. Or Kelly can pivot it out or whatever. Yeah. Thank you.
Any other questions for Anthony? If not, thank you so much for coming out. Appreciate the update. All right, next on the agenda. Sorry.
with the clerk's additions, also, there was a credit of, $720.83 for whatever reason. I asked them to send me a new statement, and the one they had sent me before would have had our, payment for this month with the credit applied, $313.83, but I asked them for a new invoice that had the credit voucher included on it, so we have that, but it brings us to $431.81, so I'm thinking another order had been placed for $117.98. So I want to be able to pay, not just the $313, but also the $117.98. So if we can add that, and that would be under fire, so $117.98 added to the fire. Yes. Butler? $117.98, no, that's the bound tree. I just gave you the two invoices. Yep. And there should be a statement. Dated 1/1/26.
We don't get a lot of details on these.
No,
But,
Good job. Taking care of them.
you see it?
No, I think there's two plots make a difference.
813,
Around yours.
But then there's a difference. Look,
right, 117.98 is right here.
yes,
Your spot. I think
the, this.
Okay.
So this is a difference that is not on that. Yes, so, see what it says there?
Oh, okay, that's that,
Yes.
okay, I was gonna say,
Yes.
he's running, okay, you
Got
took the
it.
total, okay,
Yes.
I'm following.
Okay,
She played with
Okay,
that.
so, any motion?
I make a motion to approve the clerk's additions as presented.
I have
Another question? Okay.
Can everyone hear Laura, or is that muffled?
Scratchy.
It's muffled.
I wonder why.
Okay, so Laura,
Yes.
this is literally penny ink. You have consumers on your worksheet at 465.35.
What works for you?
Just the streetlights.
Oh, on the clerk's edition?
Yeah, on the clerk's edition. You got
Okay.
that? The bill is 465.34. Yeah, it's literally only a penny, but it is not accurate.
I will correct that.
Okay.
So with that correction then, is my motion good
I'll second it.
to correct the penny? All right, so then we're good then, once I do that?
I'm good.
Okay, so I made a motion,
I seconded it.
okay, trustee List. All right, it's been moved and seconded to accept the clerk's edition with the 1 penny correction. Treasurer Pitt,
Yes.
trustee Ryder,
Yes.
as clerk I will say yes, supervisor Kruger,
Yes.
and trustee List.
Yes.
Okay, motion carried.
All right, next on the agenda, and I'm sorry, I think this might have is to approve the December 8th, 2025 board meeting minutes. Any discussion on,
There is one error on page 2, unless we got one. I think I said yes, treasurer Pitt, trustee List, yes, treasurer Pitt, yes.
Oh,
So that
okay.
needs to be struck out,
Yep,
Trustee List twice.
and treasurer Pitt twice.
sure, yeah, I'm sure I copied and pasted,
Yep.
and, okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other discussion regarding the December 8th board meeting minutes as presented? If not, I'll make a motion to approve it with the strike through on the new business of treasurer Pitt and trustee List.
I can second that. All right, so it's been moved and seconded with the correction, the strike through on the December, 8 minutes. Trustee Ryder,
Yes.
as clerk, I will say yes. Supervisor Kruger,
Yes.
trustee List,
Yes.
and treasurer Pitt.
Yes.
Motion carried.
All right, next on the agenda is approval of the bill starting with fire. Any discussion on any of the fire bills?
No, the questions I had, Laura provided.
I just need you guys to make sure that we are approving the payment to, EMC for the fire truck. I'm not sure that I put it in there, but it is $1,500.
I,
Just making sure. I couldn't remember if I did, I thought I did, but I want that to be included.
When we talk about hardware bills, is there any chance we can get any better copies to know what the bill is?
Even hiding on the printed out one they give me, I can't even hardly read it.
But how do we approve it if we got nothing?
Which one is it?
there's one on here, because I had actually the same question. Right, no, there's one here, on one of these packs, that is photocopied, and you cannot read what's on it.
For the fire or general?
Yeah.
No, fire.
For fire?
We do have an invoice associated with it, but
That's not
it's
needed.
this.
Yeah, there's a statement that says $22.99, but nothing on the invoice at all.
Yes.
Something different, yeah.
That's a really tough one.
It's for chainsaws, sharpening, and whatever the page is. You're welcome.
Any other discussion regarding the fire bills? If not, I'll make a motion to approve the fire bills as presented,
I'll second that.
including the 1,500 for
Okay.
EMS.
Okay.
I still second it.
Okay, so it's been moved and seconded to approve fire as presented, including the EMC
Get yours and yours.
at 1,500. So as clerk, I will say yes. Supervisor Kruger,
Yes.
trustee List,
Yes.
treasurer Pitt,
Another couple of weeks, and then I think.
and trustee Ryder.
Yes.
The motion carried.
All right, next on the agenda is approval of the bills for payroll. This is a big thick one. Yeah. All thick.
That's the one that came apart.
They came apart.
Sorry about that.
Any discussion regarding the payroll as presented? Hearing none, I will make a motion to approve the payroll as presented.
I'll second it.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve payroll as presented. Supervisor Kruger,
Yes.
trustee List,
Yes.
treasurer Pitt,
No.
and trustee Ryder.
Yes.
And as clerk, I will say yes, so motion carried.
All right, next on the agenda is approval of the bill for solid waste.
it's for the updated lighting at the waste transfer station, so it is more secure.
Yeah, I know the DPW has been working on that. All right, hearing no discussion, I will make a motion to approve the solid waste as presented.
I'll second.
Okay, so it's been moved and seconded to approve solid waste as presented. Trustee List,
Yes.
Treasurer Pitt,
Yes.
Trustee Reiber.
Yes.
As clerk, I will say yes, and Supervisor Kruger.
Yes.
Motion carried.
All right, next on the agenda is this general, approval of the bills for general. Any discussion for general?
Just so you know, the one, the trailer park fee I think I put in there is also included with the general.
Yes, yep, I got it. This is a separate pack.
Heidi, do you remember how much it was? I don't have it right in front of me.
2027.
1,027?
And 57.
All right, hearing no discussion, I will make a motion to approve general bills as presented.
I'll second.
Okay, so it's been moved and seconded to pay general as presented. Treasurer Pitt,
No.
Trustee Reiber.
Yes.
As clerk, I will say yes. Supervisor Kruger
Yes.
and Trustee List.
Yes.
Okay, motion carried.
All right, last but not least, approval of the bills for water.
Doug, your speaker's not working, Mike.
Yeah.
It's on and
Change.
on.
Whoa.
All right, is that any better?
Well,
Okay, thank you. All right, next on the agenda is approval of the bills for water.
And that's our water bond.
Payment.
Interest. Yeah, interest.
Interest in the spring and we do interest in principal in the fall.
So the total amount is $102,356.26.
Correct.
Okay, I will make a motion to approve the water bills as presented.
I'll second that.
Okay, so it's been moved and seconded to approve the water as presented. Let's see here. As clerk, I will say yes. Supervisor Kruger,
Yes.
Trustee List,
Yes.
Treasurer Pitt,
Yes.
and Trustee Reiber.
Yes.
And motion carried.
All right, next on the list, or next on the agenda, I'm sorry, is the treasurer's report. So I do have an understanding that treasurer's reports are not required to be approved. I'll pull that documentation, but I think for the meantime, we can go ahead and review it, and I'll make a motion to approve it as presented.
I'll second it. And is there an MCL that says it's not required now?
I will find it, yes.
That would be awesome.
It is, yep.
I also want to notate that I gave the board a list of the check register for the tax account, since I do make the checks out for that one. And for all deposits made for the township, you're getting that report as well. Not required, but I thought it would be nice to see where the money goes. And that it matches to the bank statements.
Did we get a second?
Heidi did.
Oh, yeah, I did, sorry.
So it's been moved and seconded to approve the treasurer's report as presented. Supervisor Kruger,
Yes.
Trustee List,
Yes.
Treasurer Pitt,
Yes.
Trustee Reiber,
Yes.
and as clerk, I will say no. Motion carried.
Thank you. Okay, next on the agenda is the fire report. Chief Kaufman.
Scott Cronkite, who was one of our officers, has left due to lack of time to dedicate to the department. He has some personal reasons. Nothing to do with the department. In fact, he was sorry to go. And I have offered him leave of absence, but he declined it at this time. I think that they have both served well, and they both deserve a thank you from the board if that's acceptable with you. They appreciate that. Training, December training consisted of personal protective gear inspection. This is something we do on an annual basis. Learning deficiencies so we know where we stand and we know what the needs of the equipment is for our replacement schedule. Reporting, as of January 1st, we have transitioned to the new National Emergency Response Information System. I mentioned this last month. We were part of the pilot program for this as it transitions over to the new national system. We had a few problems during the transition. The tech support was excellent, and Robin and Tammy put in some effort as well to overcome them. Everything is current, everything's in, and so we're good. Equipment, putting together orders for new equipment for the trucks, including tools, tool mounts, and large diameter supply hose. So we'll be seeing some bills for that probably within the next month to month and a half. I like to wait until the last quarter. There are always needs. By the last quarter, we know what we have available to spend. There haven't been any emergencies this year, fortunately. So we're in pretty good shape right now, and it's time to order the new stuff. We're in much better shape than we were when I came in like 2.5 years ago. A lot of it has been rotated. The equipment's up to snuff. The new truck is great. But we need to do some things with hose. Some of our hose is still 30, 40 years old, so it's time. The old trucks, I have not had any positive feedback from Bayer and ISD on the fire cadet program. We were discussing whether or not to donate the old engine or dispose of it. At this time, I would like to recommend that we dispose of it. The same is to be said of the old tender truck. Confident enough in the operations of the new truck that I don't see any problems. We got one minor issue with it, which I think we can resolve, probably without taking it out of the garage. But I think it's time we talk about what we're going to do. Are we going to auction them, or are we going to sell them to a private company? And I have been approached by one private company. I think, Doug, you got the email as well. People pay attention out there when you get a new truck. They want to know what you're going to do with your hose. So it isn't any fishing that we did. It's somebody that's fishing on the other end that would like to know if we want to sell it. So I guess I need to know where we stand with this. What's your pleasure?
We want to entertain and just get an offer from this individual and go from there.
Sure.
Getting an offer,
Do you agree?
okay. I think getting an offer is better than letting it sit and rot or just take it out there. So I think at least entertaining an offer.
Get it over and then
See where we're
see
at.
where we're at.
Or we can set up an open bid like we did for the old skid steer, just to have, sealed bids.
I think you'd be better off to go to the equipment auction site versus the sealed bid.
Okay.
My personal opinion, because versus people around here,
No, I-
it'd be a much wider net to cast, right? What are your thoughts?
I think I probably should do a little more homework and find out what the current prices are on similar equipment. I was up on that when we ordered the new truck. I haven't paid a whole lot of attention to it since then, so it's time to go back and take a look and see what the values actually are. Probably not a great deal of value in the old pumper, just given its age, but there may be some in the tanker truck, the tender truck. It's fairly low miles, fairly low engine hours, and typically those are either repurposed for other fire departments or they go to construction companies for hauling water. So I think there may be a market for that. But if you want, I'll look into it.
Yeah, let's look into it. Maybe entertain the bid.
I did touch base with the gentleman that contacted us, and maybe he'll come out, take a look at it, and then by next month, we'll probably have a better idea of where we stand.
That sounds great. Does the board agree?
All right, I'll proceed with that then. New truck open house. We could do this 65. Lee Township had 36, including 4 mutual aid. We had 4 motor vehicle accidents, 11 public assist medicals, 1 carbon monoxide investigation, 1 fire, 5 hazardous conditions, 9 power lines down, and we were canceled en route 5 times. I believe 4 out of the 5 were actually mutual aid runs that we were on. Greendale Township had 29 runs, motor vehicle accidents 2, public assist medicals 7, hazardous conditions 9, controlled burn 1, it was a legal burn, but we get those calls quite often because people drive by and they don't know. And when they report it, we have to go out. We had 6 power lines down, and we were canceled in route 3 times. Any questions on any of those? Okay, I have one more item that is not on the list here. This is from all of the active members of the Lee Township Fire Department. And I'm sorry to have to read this, but it's been a little depressing. States following Lee Township Treasurer Heidi Fitz no vote to approve payroll for the fire department on several occasions and without any explanation. The undersigned fire department members wish to express a position of no confidence in Township Treasurer Heidi Fitz. In addition, we would like to thank the remainder of the board for the responsible votes to approve our payroll. It is good to know that the majority of the board appreciates the fire and rescue services we deliver to both Lee and Greendale Townships. As I said, this is signed by all the active members of the fire department.
I don't understand that piece. Possession is an agreement.
I would like the minutes to be found that I supposedly refused the fire department input. Because people are stating that, I'm going to go back through the minutes and find the right. Because that is false. And some people in this room know it for a fact.
Okay, thank you, Chief. Next on the agenda is Planning Commission Zoning Administrator, Mr. Badcock.
Yes. The planning commission will be meeting again on Wednesday, January 21st. It will be here at the hall at 7 o'clock. This is the first meeting of the 2026 calendar year. The agenda is on the boards. If people are curious about what's about the direction of the township from the zoning perspective, this is a good meeting to attend. You're all good meetings to attend, but one of the things the planning commission is going to be looking at is what areas should the planning commission start looking at this year. Some suggestions that have been made is maybe we should look over do some administrative matters, in other words, clean up some of our go over and update our forms that we use. In fact, I have also been recently approached by another company that provides electronic zoning information. I'll be sitting down with that person, like virtual, to see what they have to offer. I don't know from a cost perspective whether that's realistic for our township, but as you know, the bookkeeping is not the only aspect of township operations that has become more complicated and more computerized and programized. So again, with dealing with financial realities of the township, I think we're at least looking into those things. And again, whatever I find out, I will present to the planning commission, and if they think it's something that the board should consider, that may be something that may be a topic. Other areas that we're looking at and considering is whether or not to start the process of looking at the master plan for the township. Admittedly, our township hasn't changed that dramatically in the last 10 years, but nevertheless, things do change, and it very well may be worth looking into that. Again, the planning commission has always tried to do what they think is best for the community, but sometimes a lack of involvement by the community has made it difficult to anticipate any and all concerns that might be expressed. So, again, I know this is being recorded. Hopefully people that are watching at home are listening to this, and as well as the people here today. We welcome diverse opinions at these planning commission meetings. These people work very hard, and we urge people to come to our meetings, but certainly the next one on the 21st would be a good one to come to. Just if nothing else, you can hear what thoughts the planning commission have about moving forward this year, what things we should be exploring, and quite frankly, we would welcome any comments.
Maybe you could give a quick summary of what the planning commission does.
Oh, yes, that's a good point. I mean, what the planning commission does is they handle zoning matters within the township. One of the things that people get confused about is that the zoning ordinance is a single, very large ordinance. The township has ordinances that cover a wide range of topics that have nothing to do with zoning. One that is oftentimes attributed to the zoning, to the planning commission, and to the zoning ordinance is blight. Blight is not an ordinance that pertains to zoning. Oftentimes people associate that with planning. In our township, and this is long before any of us were here, that was segregated, separated outward. It's a separate ordinance altogether. But what we do handle is things such as uses of property, requirements for lot sizes, uses of the properties. We have separate zoned areas for commercial, industrial, residential, agricultural, single, multifamily residences. And there's a lot of regulations put in place that have been put in place and that currently exist. And the planning commission administers that. Administers that majority of it. The zoning administrator handles some of the minor administrative matters, but the vast majority of them are handled by the planning commission, such as site plan reviews, commercial site plan reviews, zoning, rezoning, special uses. Those are all handled by planning commission. So, for example, if someone wants to open a beautician shop in their home, that would be a question that would be for the planning commission. I, as the zoning minister, act as the conduit between the residents and the member and the planning commission. My job is to basically try to coordinate to make sure that residents get some basic information so they can be informed as to what they need to do when they approach the planning commission with regards to whatever matter they need addressed from a zoning perspective. So, again, we would welcome people to come. It's not glamorous. It's maybe not the most exciting topic in the world, but it does have an impact on people's lives, whether they realize it or not.
And also, moving forward, looking at revising the master plan.
And that master plan, that's one thing. But the last couple of years, we've been working on our zoning ordinance, which has been submitted to the board, and we're looking at that and making whatever further changes they have to make. But now the next step forward is, and again, we need to look at a timetable. This is not something we would do over a meeting. This is something that would probably take a year or two to accomplish, because it's very time intensive. This would involve sending surveys to residents, gathering information to various government agencies about information that pertains to zoning matters. There's a lot of things that go into play with regards to the master plan, as it was the case with the zoning ordinance and the proposal that was sent to this board. So again, there's a time-intensive process here, and again, along the way, we always welcome people's thoughts and comments about what they would see in the community. And remember, for every one person who has their own opinion, there's another person who's sitting next to you who may have a vastly different opinion. And that's the challenge that our planning commission and what the board has to deal with. Not everyone agrees on everything. What's acceptable to one person may not be acceptable to the other. That's partly what makes our community very, very unique and interesting, but it can also make it challenging for the administrators at both planning and board. So we always ask people to be patient. We try with the board. I know the planning commission does their very best to try to consider everyone's perspectives. Sometimes your views may be shared by the majority of the people. Sometimes it's not. They do their best in circumstances. So unless anyone has any questions, we'd love to see a turnout. It's going to be in our boardroom across
those areas that have been marked has been very beneficial, because when there's snow on the ground, we've had some burials, of course, and then to have to find those plots in the snow are a little more difficult. So thank you, awesome today for jumping onto that, I appreciate that. And we have been working with Kelly Seibel as far as organizing section E. It's, there's A, B, C, D, E sections in the cemetery, and A is probably the oldest, and moving on, B, D is still got room. There's also some room in the other spots dotted here and there, but E is the biggest, or the next most vastly open area to get into. So now we're able to actually sell plots from there, because we have an idea where these plots can be. So other than that, everything is going well. And we've actually used columbarium as well.
Good.
And we're still moving towards printing off maps that will be posted in the chapel. It's a little more complicated, but we are moving towards how to actually print those maps.
Yes, thanks.
And thank you, Ken Dawson. Moving on to code enforcement report, 10/2023-01. This is the mobile home. We've been reporting on this again just this year. The messages I left on 310, 421, 512, 65, 714, 811, 912, 1011, and as of 11:10, the telephone had been disconnected. I have sent another letter and no response to date. So I will be working probably with the attorney in the near future to discuss how to move forward with that particular. And when I say disrepair, the mobile home is a tree going under it. So it's rough. All right, 02/2024-01. This is a two-part code enforcement violation. Part of two different addresses, two parcels. Parcel 1 had to do with a building that was constructed without a building permit. They did retroactively receive the building permit. The building was sitting on concrete blocks versus a foundation of any sort. The foundation is in. It's a steel structure, metal building with two construction. So it's a little bit different than your average pole building. And as of my discussion today, they are working with the code authority building inspector. It is half tied down or attached to the concrete, and hopefully by next month it will be fully complete. It has slowed down because of the weather, but hopefully it will be complete and have a final inspection. 2025-01, this is a zoning issue. This one, well, it's zoning and it's two pieces, it's also two parcels. We're looking at parcel 1 at the moment. Before moving on to parcel 2, our code enforcement officer has left him multiple messages in the last few weeks. He received a letter with a 90-day notice in November. I'm sorry, in August. He reached out to us a voicemail in November. We haven't seen any communications in the 90 days, and now he appears to be possibly ghosting and not responding. So we'll have to determine the next course of action. 05/2025-02. This one was also a registered letter that was returned on 8/19 after multiple attempts to deliver. There's no activity at the property. It is gated. The owner has been in and out of jail. I'm not sure his current status. I drive by and check. There's no vehicles. There's nothing. Very big. So we'll continue to monitor it and try to catch them at some point. Any questions on? Yes, Sharon.
And that particular one, this last snowstorm, somebody plowed the driveway. So just so you know.
On this road that we're, okay.
It's nice one line, so.
Understood.
So, yeah, I was like, are you kidding me?
No,
You know,
I
they
understand.
broke down things and, you know, they came and plowed that little driveway. I thought, okay, this time.
Did they open the gate and plow in?
They opened the gate, they plowed into part of the gate, they closed the gate, and they left. So, is there something to do with that property?
We are attempting to make contact to ask them to clean it up for our blight ordinance. were replaced back into this room, the 2 speakers from last month. Other than that, I don't think there's been any updates, any changes at the hall. Park updates.
I actually got
A response?
a reservation today for the park. That means springs in the air.
Alright. So I don't know, I mean, the park received, for many of you are newcomers to our meeting, we have received a $650,000 DNR Sparks grant a couple of years ago. And so we have a non-paid committee or team that's been implementing these funds, right? In order, and it's been right, Heidi, it's been a several-year process to get through the construction, and now we're at the reimbursement process. And I know that the last update that I had seen, Heidi, was that the first payment was, did we receive it? And we did receive it. The last one I had seen said it was pending. I didn't see one, and we looked at the Sparks meeting last Friday and didn't see one, so thank you, appreciate it.
It's under deposit list.
Okay, fantastic, thank you. And then we have the big one, which is $490,000, that we are working through with the Sparks. The state tools are very out of date, to say the least. They're very cumbersome. From the applying to the reimbursement phase, everything in the end is very cumbersome and difficult to work with. So the people have been fantastic once you can get them to start. They're pretty thin as well. They're pretty thin as well.
I have a question. Have we given any thought to the new pavilion? Are we going to rent that out, or it's time to start thinking about it, because it is going to be the best pavilion.
There's no way to clean it, there's no way to.
Because
There's
it's too
no
far
water.
away.
There's no water.
That's right, too far away from the water and all that.
And we haven't even seeded that area or.
So you're thinking then not until after we get the water ultimately, before we would even.
There would be no way for that.
Because I think if it's still used, it's gonna have to be cleaned.
It will, right? But the rentals, I think,
Right.
cause a higher level of cleaning needs. But a very good point. We can entertain that and look at what we're going to do next year for the park. Good, thank you.
So with these funds, let me look at getting a new splash pad. Let's get a little bit
So,
more creative for our children.
It's
than-
interesting that you say that. So our splash pad has 3 functions, I believe, that are turned off. So it took quite a long time, but we have received quotes for repair versus replace. That actually we just received them in the last couple of weeks, right?
Yes.
So more to come on that. So yes. All right, moving on to unfinished business. So
The zoning ordinance, this is something we've been working on as the planning commission and as the board for, gosh, quite some time. The board had made some recommendations throughout the process, and Trustee Ryber and myself had compiled those back in November, I think. November. I actually have a suggestion for the board. Is that with this unfinished business, I would like to table, we have so much going on right now, between tax season,
Well,
between.
maybe I can add to that.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so I read through the whole thing. And when you do that, I mean, there's been sections you read and look good, then I went through and I found, and I sat with Russ, we went, beforehand, and went through just to clarification and justification on some of my errors or what I thought maybe some changes. So I do have some other, they're small, but I see some changes and wording maybe, very minor things that should be adjusted.
Okay.
So, maybe, I'm trying to think how that would be best, I can maybe work with Russ to get that out to the rest of the board to look at those.
that would work. That would be great.
Okay, so that gives one more.
Right, and my suggestion was actually on the zoning ordinance, the blight ordinance, focus group, the employee handbook,
fixes, but
So,
that's just how that goes.
I'd rather do it once than have to redo it.
I met an individual a couple of Saturdays ago who's been on a Saginaw board. His father was on the board for a couple of decades. He's been on the board for a couple of decades. And he actually owns a business in Saginaw County. We didn't know the relation. I was on board, and anyways, we got to speaking and about planning and zoning and blight and different things. And again, neither of us knew that we were on boards in separate counties, right?
Could you either speak up or talk into a different microphone? You sound like you've got a bag of marbles in your mouth. Get the damn thing fixed.
Is anyone else having, I don't know what else I can do.
We need new mics, I think.
There are seats in the front instead of interrupting.
Go ahead.
What?
If you look at where your mics are pointed, hers is pointed at your mouth. Good for you. Yours is pointed at your mouth. Yours is at your Adam's apple, so it's not quite, yours is flashing above your head. You might think about
It was.
putting it right in your mouth. These things seem to be fussy. Check the angle.
Hello, is this one working now?
No, angle it down, Doug.
It's, hello? Is it better?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Go.
I
No, you can't hear it.
I can't hear it, I mean, I'm not hearing it, so. Okay. So anyways, what I was saying is, I spoke with this gentleman for quite some time before either of us knew that we were on boards in joining counties, right? And the discussion that we had, and once he learned that I was on board, and he's had decades of experience, right? Is he really urged the board to take their time with all of these decisions. Because the decisions that this board, that any board makes, is impactful for the communities for years to come, or could be. That was his advice to me, and it makes sense, right? It's kind of eye-opening if you think about it. I mean, it could be, look at the ordinances and the resolutions that are in place from the 80s and 90s and 25 years ago that are still adopted and have never been updated. So, and I think that's why we need to take our time, which we have. But this board is fantastic about taking our time, making the right decisions, and holding off when we need to. So that's my suggestion for a couple of decades.
Excuse me, I have a question on one of those. Your employee sick time accrual, is that a policy that you're working on, or what do you have on that?
That is a state requirement.
That's a requirement, yes.
Yeah. So what I've done is an adopted policy by the municipality. The state says what the hours are, but we still have to adopt a policy. So what I have done is, I have reached out to the township supervisors and clerks adjoining the township, I think most of Midland County, to try to see and leverage maybe what they have created, and I have yet to get a response. So I'm not sure if anyone else in the county has adopted this policy, but I have found some other examples we can utilize.
Can I ask why you're asking? Are you, what do I want to say? Do you handle that? Do you know?
Are you an expert
Yes.
in that field?
Somewhat.
Okay.
So that's why I'm wondering, is this should have started, are you accruing employee sick time already? You're still working on the policy? Or
We will
what?
need to backtrack and do the accrual. Yeah, if you, please reach out to me, email me, or I can talk with you after the meeting.
Absolutely.
If you have some expertise in this. And actually, trustee List as well, he's working on this policy.
Okay.
Thank you. All right, so next on the unfinished business is the fire department open house, as Chief Kaufman had indicated. So what we had discussed previously is doing a truck dedication and or blessing of the truck. So one suggestion that I had was to have Chief Darrell come back and provide the blessing of the truck as some sort of event. Is this something that we discussed it last month? I think
It was last month, Chris wanted to.
and he was going to work with the fire department to see if they had any, I'm sorry,
figured how would be the place to go.
I think so too. That's my
Well, it's 70 degrees.
Well, right, wait a few months.
What is your preference, here or there?
I think if we're going to do it in the winter months, we do it in March.
Okay.
So do we want to look at a date in February?
Not 14th.
That's a Saturday. Yeah. Okay, so how about the following Saturday, the 21st?
February
February
21st?
21st, any concerns with that?
And what hours would we want? Right, I'm assuming this would be a dedication and kind of a half open for a bit for people to come and go and take a look at the all of the truck. So,
Like noon to 2, noon to 3?
I would just do the
Oh,
usual.
Could that be something that maybe a little bit farther out in March? The only reason I'm saying is that then that way you could actually get the news out to people that maybe are not here or
I would
that
agree,
you kind of
but-
get around, people would know about it a little bit more.
We wanted to try to do it as close to the acquisition of the truck as possible, was kind of the discussion.
And you gotta think about what the weather's gonna be too.
It will be indoors, so yeah.
I was figuring a lot of people would hear about it, and I'd like to see it. With the amount of work that the grant commission has done, the grant committee has done to get this approved, I think they have only like 20 people show up for, dedication to this thing. I mean, a lot of work went in from this grant committee to get this for us, but I'd like to see a little bit more community fellowship come up, but that's just my opinion.
I'm open to whatever.
You want to do the 3, we'll do the 3.
Are we, do we want to move it out to, do we want to move it out to summer? I mean, is that too late? That seems too late.
No.
I think that's a little late.
Because that'll be like 6 months after we got
After
it.
yeah.
We might have to scratch it by then.
Right, kind of scratch right now.
I think just try to get it out there as best we can, put it on the website.
You're never gonna please everybody.
Else of the committee.
Okay, February chief, how about February 21st, noon to 3?
And I will talk to Daryl.
Fantastic,
Thank you.
Like an open house thing, or like,
Well, a blessing of the,
so that would be like, you know what I mean, the actual.
The blessing could be, we could do the
Yes.
blessing like,
have an open house 12 to 3 and maybe the blessing at 1.
yeah, that's what I'm.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll check and see if he's clear for that date.
If not, come back later.
If not, we actually have a pass on staff.
Perfect. Yeah, oh yes, we do. Maybe we can do a dual blessing. All right, next on the agenda for unfinished business is reconciliation update, which we covered already. Any other questions about the reconciliation update? Okay, moving on to new business. So the first item on new business is Franken Mutual account. And actually, these are the two for Franken Mutual and Members First Credit Union. It's the same scenario. So Clerk Dawson and I had went to some of the, well, all of the financial institutions to try to obtain some of the bank statements because we had some gaps in the bank statements when we were working with the Raymond Group.
May I ask why you went there instead of talking to me when I get them every month? I would have given them to you. I've sent them all electronically in shared file.
This was before you had shared that. So we were working with the Raymond Group and we needed to obtain the statements.
They've all been reconciled till September. So
Understood
all of
that,
them
yep.
have a bank statement.
I'm certain that's not the point. That's not why we're here to discuss, but thank you. Upon investigation, we found that Clerk Dawson was not on either of those accounts, the Franken Mutual account,
Just not on all
or the Members First. So what we found is that former Deputy Treasurer Jessica Barber is on both of those accounts. So we need to correct that and have Jessica removed.
As Mr. Birchmeyer and I talked, we're trying to close those and get them moved to a higher finance, but until they're reconciled with those direct interest reconciliations, I can't. So they're trying to be closed.
not according to the bank, she's not.
Okay. Again, if I handle all the investments stated by Michigan, and we have a resolution for it, why did you two not come to me? Talk about not working with
The
someone.
resolution,
Why did you not ask
the
me for this
resolution
information?
states that who is on the account. We
Why
assume,
did you not ask me? I would like an answer. Why will you two not work with me?
oh wow, that is
Ask my
incorrect.
question.
That's incorrect. Thank you, Heidi. So, what the banks are wanting is basically approved minutes from the board to remove Jessica and add either the Lynn and or Laura, whomever needs to be
It will
added.
be Lynn.
Well, we can add multiple. And per the resolution, that's how it's stated, is it can be the deputy clerk, deputy.
Check it for investments. Look at the MCL if you don't believe me. Let's bring that up, and then you can do what you need to do.
Okay, we can table this.
Thank you.
It really disheartens me that we can't do what we need to do.
Work with me then. Try working with me.
Try being in our shoes, but thank you. All right,
So we know that we have to take her off.
yeah.
Jessica's on there. If Jessica was not a kind and considerate person, she could clear us out.
Correct.
So why can't we vote? We know that has to happen.
Well,
And technically, I'm supposed to be on them as well as my deputy.
Okay?
You
So
know
what
what?
if we move forward with the vote, and then if it's not correct for
I
MCL,
will call Jessica first thing in the morning and get it done tomorrow. I can go to all the banks and make sure every one of them is done. Do you need,
Well, we need this.
copies?
we need the minutes, right?
Do you need
We need
copies
the
stuff so
minutes.
that
We do need, we need time.
One
limits
person
and
at a
additions
time.
per both banks.
Okay, so if we vote on it now, then either Heidi or whoever
It
can
would
follow,
be me, I am the person to
then
contact
she
the
can
banks.
follow through with getting them moved around. Jessica off, and whoever decides to go on. If that is incorrect, change it later. Well, at least we have the minutes, so, okay, we can at least take her off and,
I'll be happy to take those minutes to the bank and bring you back copies from the bank that it's been handled. But I will be the one going to the bank. It is my statutory duty and responsibility to handle all of the banking and investment. Laura is to be on all checking accounts, which she is. Now, I am trying to work with you, but I'm not changing my statutory duty to make you happy. The fact
We're not
remains,
asking
this
you
is, excuse me, this is the way the MCL is written. I'd be happy to entertain your motion, and I'll be happy to go to the bank to do it. But I will be doing them after 3 o'clock when I close the office each day.
So these are all the accounts that we want to close anyways, right?
I will be closing all the local ones except for checking accounts.
Right, so all the ones with members first and Franklin are gonna end up being closed once reconciliation is done. Then why are we having a frickin' argument? Let's take Jessica off, put Lynn on, they're gonna be closed in a few months anyway.
So Mark, Jessica had some issues going on. That was more important.
Oh, I understand.
Regulations aren't there. We didn't worry because there's nothing happening till we close the account.
I understand, but if they're gonna be closed in 3 to 4 months, this argument is not worth having.
Right.
Let's just make a I'll make the motion that we get Jessica off, we put Lynn on until it can be proven through the MCL otherwise, or until they're closed.
I'll second that.
Mark, I'm sorry, please repeat.
I made a motion to take Jessica off the Franklin Lewis and Members First Credit Union accounts and put Lynn on until either they are closed or we can come back with the MCL that I requested to make a different change. If they're gonna be closed in 3 or 4 months, it's argument is pointless.
Shouldn't be arguing going on anyways.
There should not be.
All right, so Heidi, you seconded it.
Yes, ma'am?
it's been moved and seconded to remove Jessica Barber and add Lynn Luder to both Frankenmuth Mutual account and members FERS Credit Union account.
Is it Franklin Mutual or Franklin Credit? Yeah, so it wouldn't be Franklin Mutual, it's Franklin.
Okay, well, I'm just going off the
No,
agenda.
that's okay. I just.
All right, trustee List,
Yes.
treasurer Pitt,
Yes.
trustee Ryber,
Yes.
as clerk I will say yes, and supervisor Kruger.
Yes.
Motion carried.
All right, next on the agenda is the FMBO credit card. Now that we have Huntington Bank, do we have a need to continue to use FMBO? Are we in a position where we can approve another card? Because I don't think, where Dawson has a card from Huntington and then cancel the FMBO account.
I can arrange for that.
Any concerns with that?
No.
Okay. Because FMBO, the next statements are.
It'll probably take 2 weeks to get a card, but I'll have it in 2 weeks.
I would like to see limits assigned and how many cards. I would like a vote on that.
We did that before. We have a DPW, a fire department, myself and you. It's the same 10,000 that we had before.
And they all shared that
That
credit
10,000.
balance.
All I have to do, if I know when someone's gonna need more, then I move it from somebody else's. I just have to keep the 10,000.
So if we report card is now at 2,500 or whatever the price may be.
And I adjust them just like that.
Do they have to have a credit balance at all, or can it be, meaning assigned per card, or can we just have it assigned for the account? And
No, I
everything?
do have to sign it by the card, but I can change that in a week. As long as I keep the 10,000 there. We just have the bulk of it for the fire department, because at the time, that's where it was needed. So it's very simple to change. I literally get a phone call or an email or a text, and have it done immediately. And then.
Yes, Laura.
Before we cancel the FNBO, the Google with, needs taken care of, they need to, cancel out, do whatever the IT guys, because we're still making a monthly payment for Google. So we can't cancel FNBO until we're sure everything is.
I don't have the authority to cancel your FNBO anyway. You would have to do that. I can only work with the honeys and make funds.
So who's in charge of the Google account? Paying it or managing it?
It's on Heidi's credit card each month.
But I don't handle anything to do with it.
Do we know who set it up?
I would assume Marie did.
Okay, so then would it?
So we can work with
to
Marie,
change-
we can work with Marie and the IT guys, because we need to get this straight around.
Yeah.
Okay, and then
So
just change
we'll
the payment.
connect. And get it moved over. Fantastic, thank you. All right, next on the agenda is the MTA conference. Did everyone have a chance to read the conference schedule for this year, which is April 20th through the 23rd in Traverse City? And I did take an opportunity to highlight, I gave everyone copies, and I think I sent an email out about this, but I don't recall why I'm on right now. And it's also in our magazine that we receive on a monthly basis.
If you have not been to one of these, this is the best one. There's many, many classes that you can take, in the general sessions.
So some of the classes for folks are, assessor renewal, leadership by design, mapping the money, legal institute for township attorneys, defining your future's land use, business solutions, communicating your holistic retirement package, concurrent educational sessions, behind closed doors, what your board needs to know about evolving OMA, elections, updates, FOIA in the digital age, budget like it's a pro, just as a few examples. And there's many, many, many more. And there's not enough time in the day to
wage and hour basics getting paid right every time. Assign of the times, how does your sign ordinance stack up? Is it fund accounting or fund accounting? Why can't it be both? So there's something for every role. There's multiple opportunities for every role. So it's not a cheap opportunity from a training perspective. The cost is $400 for the registration, and then some of the classes have a fee. Most do not, but there are some that do. And then, of course, there will be 4 nights in a hotel stay.
There's a resort fee of $19 a night plus 5% local and 6% state, so $20 plus 11%.
Yeah. So and we're looking at, depends on if you stay. It's a little bit cheaper. There are other hotel options within a few miles that are a few bucks cheaper. First of all, is anyone interested in attending?
I don't think I'll be able to go.
I'm interested.
I'll do some online instead.
But it's not a showstopper either. I am interested because they do have quite a few courses that I'm interested in.
Pertaining to you.
Mm-hmm.
Day one might be interest to me.
There's election stuff.
Yeah.
No, you can go, if you go to the back page, you can go, it breaks it down. So you can go, I think, one day, you can go,
Is it the on demand?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, single day only, either Tuesday or Wednesday.
You can go either day or both days.
Monday's not an option for one day.
For one day?
I don't think it is, when is it? It usually starts on Tuesday, but I don't think it is.
But it is starting on Monday.
On Monday,
Those extra,
Yeah,
those
so
are
it would
probably
be-
extra.
It'll be traveling Sunday.
Where's that?
Traverse City, right there. You had went, didn't you guys, to one of these events?
I think I did. I know it was on the Franklin, like, no,
I thought you went to one in Traverse City.
a team building activity.
What
I
was
would love
that?
to. Yeah, I would love to.
What was that, Carol, I didn't hear what
Makes
you.
it a team building activity.
I agree.
Yeah.
I would love to. And I did actually recently reach out back to Mr. Tom Kling over the weekend to see if we could get the band back together, right? He had,
I did respond.
yes, we did. He had made that offer back in December, so to have additional team building.
And that he would recommend on his classes that would be that framing group.
I'm not sure. I know they're one of the sponsors.
No, we do sponsor. I think in addition to the training sessions, there are a lot of really nice events that the MTA puts on and you can for. And many of the townships do have multiple, if not all, of their boards attending. So yeah, from a team building perspective, it's great. From an educational perspective, it's great.
Very educational and you never go hungry.
No, I mean, they do really nice.
But again, with the cost associated, it's up there. As any training, right?
The registration opens when?
And the end of January, yeah.
Now, is that something that as a township, we can file funds to invest in the future of all of our board members to attend this in hopes that we're gonna move forward in a positive light in 2026, all 5 members intact?
I would love to, if we can get everyone's agreement, absolutely.
Well, I, as a citizen of Lee Township, I would recommend that we invest the money as township residents, and we do not waste the money going through tit for tat from one board, one person wants to get rid of this board member, one person wants to get in there. We voted you guys in from a recall, and I'd like to see all of you work together and become a group.
I agree.
Amen.
I agree.
We already did this one.
So is the board able to commit to these dates? Well, yes.
And I think everyone should be available by phone or email, but they should be all able to attend. And deputies should probably offer and handle the offices and the interim.
April, 20th, I don't think is, that's more, I think, for assessors, is it not, Doug?
There's other courses as well.
There is other program that day.
Okay.
That is, there are a couple of assessor courses that are, additional fees, right? And there's actually one course, it would be really good, what was it called, Mark? We talked about it. Understanding Assessing Basics. It's an all-day course, 8:30 to 5, and this satisfies the state tax commission requirement for all uncertified assessing support staff. There's also assessor's renewal leadership by design, which is approved by the state tax commission for some hours.
So you would get double out of the edge.
Yeah, there's one where I would receive some additional credit.
Would you bring all of your learning back to us so we could hear maybe 5 bullet points of what you've learned and how you plan on applying it?
Can we do that?
Yeah.
I mean, my interest, again, some of the things I've entertained is FOIA in digital age, OMA, budget like a pro.
Yeah, there's a lot of good things on it.
Unfortunately, it's after budget season, but it'll be helpful. Yeah.
Moving forward.
So, are we all able to commit to going?
I'm going other board meeting now.
Monday, Tuesday, if we're all going to work together, I'm going.
You can go, if you can't go the whole time, then you just, because I'll send these out, you'll just have to let me know what days.
So then, I will make a motion to approve the board to attend the 2026 MTA Annual Educational Conference and Expo, which will include all registration fees, hotel fees, and $75 a day for meals. I don't think we'll need that, but.
The meals are pretty much covered. So most of
Okay,
them.
so then no meals. We'll cover our own.
Okay, so supervisor made a motion to approve the board to attend the 2026 MTA Annual Educational Conference. And as clerk, I can second that. So it's been moved and seconded. Treasurer Pitt,
Yes.
trustee Ryder,
Yes.
as clerk, I will say yes. Supervisor Kruger,
Absolutely, yes.
okay, and trustee List.
Yes.
All right, motion carried, pay your days.
All right, looking forward to it. Next on the agenda is a solid waste contract. So just to give a quick update, I did send an update to the board yesterday, I think, Saturday or Sunday. It's been a rough go to even to get everyone in line, but I have spoke with Republic. Let me back up. We had to cancel potential meeting after meeting for several weeks, several months. So the decision was to just have a quick phone call, understand kind of our high-level needs. The Township's Republic contract expires the end of May. So we have to go out and basically go to market and see what our options are. So I spoke with Republic. They did suggest, which I did communicate to the board, that we could extend the agreement with Republic. We didn't discuss that in detail. We didn't discuss terms. We didn't discuss time. None of that. Just kind of what we have. And I suggested an a la carte mode, meaning we want to still keep the hybrid system that we have today with curbside Republic, curbside pickup, as well as cost to add recycling and costs to transfer what we have at the waste station over to this provider, right? It's a little bit more soon as I hear something, I'll get it out to the board, and everyone can, you know, sift through it, you know, make suggestions, we can have them come to a meeting and have discussions, or phone calls, or whatever we need to do, right, once we have the communication open. So I've talked to Republic, GFL, I have a call with Priority tomorrow. So we'll have 3 reviews. 3 bids. Yep. And we can have good discussions between the 3. I also reached out to Hope Township. I had spoke with their clerk, months ago, because they had went through this entire process, and she sent me a summary today of their experiences. Their experiences were that, you know, I think they ended up going with GFL, but Republic and GFL were the only ones that would entertain a quote at that time. Priority was not interested in Hope. I was hoping to get some cost comparisons, so I'm not done yet, because I'd like to see what they were quoted. And she indicated that both GFL and Republic did come to the board, a couple of different board meetings to discuss the opportunities with them. So,
And I'm assuming at different times.
Yes, oh yes.
You're not having
Yes.
competition.
Any questions on the contract status or current step? All right. Next on the agenda is resignation and retirements from the fire department. So, as Chief Coughlin had indicated, we have 2 folks, Tim Fair and Scott Cronkrite, who have exited the department as of December 31st. They're both correct. So I would like to make a motion to accept Tim Fair's retirement effective 12/31/2025, and accept Scott Cronkrite's resignation effective 12/31/25.
I think he just paid his nerves on the resignation.
So make Scott's effective the end of January?
Well, it starts over on the 26th.
Right, so
Right.
if they got paid for January, it would go.
Oh, it's already been to MERS and uploaded to MERS.
But that would have been for December's pay. Would that be for?
That would, okay,
Would we
I'm
do
sorry,
that?
yeah,
Mhm.
I'm good now, I'm good, sorry.
I'll second that.
Did you get both of those?
Yes, for both 12/31
Yes.
and 25, yep. So, that was your motion and Deb seconded. Correct?
Yes.
Okay, so, trustee Ryber,
Yes.
as clerk, I will say yes, supervisor Kruger,
Yes.
and trustee List,
Yes.
treasurer Pitt.
Yes.
Okay,
Are you doing it early payroll, or are you gonna do it at the end of the month
for
for these 2?
the,
It'll be 5.
I will do, it all together, I think, unless you,
I'm just asking.
would you prefer me to do it, get it done? And-
If they don't have a preference, it doesn't.
Well, Tim would not get any, because he hasn't done any runs. The only thing Scott would, is his officers pay. So, you recommend we do that right now and be done with it, or?
I would think so.
Okay. Okay, I will do that.
All right, next on the agenda is FOIA request. We received 3 or 4 FOIA requests from Courtney Clute, Pam Kaufman, and Tanya Stewart. Road Commission report.
Road Commission, I went there, and it was when they had their budget, so if anybody's interested in seeing their budget, I have here. A little details here, they said that some of the prices seem to be going down. So regarding quotes for materials and projects, actually gone down just a little bit versus up, so that's a good thing. As I kind of mentioned last time, they had increased wages, and they said that normally they would do like a 2% increase, maybe a 3%. This time they did a 4%, and it was really basically to get up to more industry standard. Trying to make things a little more level. I mean, he checked around with neighboring townships in the,
In school.
yes. And Road Commission has 11 staff members, just so you know. And they were expecting to do some group training, expect for tax paying for the office personnel. All equipment is up and good. In January, they delivered a sign truck, and I saw that the other day. It's like a bucket truck. And I'm like, ooh, that's new. That was a sign truck. And they're getting into more Facebook posts, videos coming. And I don't know, I think just a little promotion that way. And I got some pipe installation training. And a comment was made about bridge construction bridge reconstruction is underway. Pieces are in Ohio, disassembled for evaluation to be complete at end of 2026. Now, exactly what bridge that is, I'm not sure. Russ will be retiring. Yeah, he's coming up here, so he's trying to get other spots. Okay, I'll have to give him a call. And I guess that was the list.
I have one update. It's kind of a road commission report, but not necessarily. It has to do with M20, for those of you that travel it. They will be repainting, the lines are not reflective paint. So if you travel it at night, in the rain, you can't see anything. So I see, yes. So I reached out to the superintendent last week, and he followed up with me and said that it was too cold to paint with the reflective paint at the end of the season, and it will be done in the spring. So soon enough.
Get them our approved roads signed.
All right, Water District 1 report. I don't know, Heidi, that we have anything to report.
They've already raised the rates effective January 1. That was the biggies. It's now
That's the,
1410, it went to 1500.
that's for new service, for the metering. Yeah. And it's, expect the typical summer rate increase while we're on that topic, from the actual water consumption. But we haven't seen water increase yet. That typically is.
No, because we just paid water last month, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah.
For the quarter. I think so.
I don't think anything else. It's kind of, yeah. The one thing I will say about water and just mailings in general is the water district actually went to the post office because, and I think we've talked about this at other board meetings, because their postcards that they send out are taking weeks and weeks and weeks to get into people's hands.
Lost, they get torn.
Yes, and so I've seen this as well. I had someone reach out to me last week about their tax bill, and they coincidentally received it. It was postmarked correctly, but it took about 5 weeks to get it. I received a Christmas card from my grandma last Thursday that she sent on the 20th of December. So expect delays in the mailing service. It just is what it is. If you can do it electronically and you can receive your bill from Water District 1 in your email now, they have an option. You can pay it online or auto pay from your checking account. So take advantage of that.
Without a charge.
Yeah. If you don't get your bill and you don't pay it, you still get a penalty.
Right.
Let's say 3% or something like that.
I'm sure it's probably worth it.
Absolutely. All right, Mr. Mark, Code Authority report.
I have no report. I was at a forum, so there was no meeting.
That's right.
Grant committee. We had a meeting last Monday. I know we've been working on getting another grant submitted that we talked about last month, but my computer went down. The IT guys had it about 3 weeks. I just got it back, I think it was Monday of last week, and so I'm getting a report to get that done. But with the computer down, it had all the work we've done on it with the letter we've written and the proposal. So that will get done here probably within the next week, and Lenore and I can get together to get the
had an email or something, and you were looking at a grant. I can't remember what it was, through Gerstackers.
That's the one we're working on. We're working on
Oh, okay.
This is us.
I thought that came from you.
Go back and look. I'll go back to the email.
Anything else, Brian?
Yes.
I did not put this on the fire report, but since you're talking about grants, I will tell you the effort to get a countywide grant for new AEDs will be part of the state.
Oh, okay. Thank you for the update. Anything else from the grant committee? All right. Moving on to recognition moment. I have two. I would like to thank the DPW crew for continuing to clear the snow and ice in short notice, right, with the amount of storms we've had, no matter how small. Even when I went at the hall on a Friday and there was no salt on the back door, a quick text message and it was salted.
So they just went and got some today?
Yes, they just went and got some today. And I just want to thank the fire department for the long hours working through these same storms, through the ice and the wind and the power lines and everything that the fire department has done. Thank you so much, Chief.
I concur with both of those.
Anybody else? Any other recognition moments?
I want to add one more to Miss Deb here, because I know I was doing the cemetery and it got to the point where it was just too much for me. I really do thank you for taking it over, and the maps have been something that I so want to see done, so thank you.
Yes. Deb did take that down, so thank you so much. All right, moving on. Next on the agenda is public comment. Yes, Tanya.
It appears that some people in the township have received a letter. Apparently it comes from Township. In that letter, it says, at the October 13th, 2025 meeting, the board voted 4-1 to pay an accounting firm from Saginaw to make the missing entries, duplicate incorrect, reverse entries, and reconcile the general ledger with the bank account statements, and continue indefinitely. I'd like to make sure that the statement is clarified here in public comment that it was not hired indefinitely. That it was set up from April of 2024 to date, just to get the records cleared, straight, and move forward.
We are able to cancel with notice. There's no indefinite.
It's not indefinite.
No, there's no indefinite.
I went back and looked at, if it's public comment, please. I went back and looked at my recordings, and there was discussion prior to that vote that happened in the motion, that should be in the meeting minutes. But the treasurer at that time asked several times, was this going to be indefinite? And the board members that were there at that time that voted for that said that no, it is not going to be indefinite. It is set from this date to this date. And I just want to make sure that's clarified for those who get that letter and understand that that's incorrect information that's been given out. That's my public comment. Thank you.
Thank you, Tanya. Yes, Carol.
I'm Carol Schaefer. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Give me my cheerleading voice. I'm here, of course, because I do not support the recall against Midland. And I'll give you several reasons why, and I can also field all your questions. I am really thinking that we have to stop our attacking voices that we give to each other. Voting, we need to make sure that there are no conflict of interest, where someone is putting a proposal in place that benefits themselves. They should remove themselves as a conflict of interest and not vote on that proposal. Let's see, the boards and the commissions and the groups, I don't want to see any two people tag team against any one person. I think it's unprofessional. I don't think that represents what our township needs to be. If you have any other questions, voting no, anywhere on this table is not against the law. Unless there's a breach. And there is no breach at all in the case of Heidi's recall. She basically, and I've sat through all the meetings, I'm trying to be unbiased. She is saying and voting no because that is her only way to communicate to the board and to the public that she disagrees that there are errors in the accounting finance system. And so when you tell someone you cannot speak, you cannot ask a question, you cannot approach anyone, that is like harassment in the workplace 101. So just make sure that that doesn't happen, and I would ask you not to sign the recall petition. Does anyone have any questions of me? Comments? Concerns?
Amen.
Bring it on.
Amen.
We're better than that. I know I can say good things about every one of you people. Many. And I just, yeah.
Thank you, Karen. Any other public comment?
Just very briefly, I know that before every portion, before there's a vote on any matter before this board, I know Doug, as a supervisor, asked for any comment or discussion before the vote is placed. There's been at no time during any of the board meetings has the board member been prohibited from stating their mind on any topic that's up for vote. And so I do think that needs to be clarified for the record. It's part of the video. It's there every month for people to see. Every board member is given an opportunity to express their thoughts on whatever they're about to vote on before they place their vote. That is all I have to say, Chris. So I don't think for one moment that this board is suppressing anyone's voice at all.
Heidi, you made a comment about working together. I would love to see that, okay? And I would love to see that in you. I haven't seen that in you in a long time. It is way different from you since when this board was first together. And speaking of the letter that went out, you're attacking the clerk. You're not taking any accountability yourself. From my understanding from the Midland group, is this one-sided? Was this all, what's going on, is this all because of the clerk?
Well, we're not gonna assign blame one way or the other. I mean, this is a joint, you mentioned that, I mean,
That's what
everyone's involved.
Yes,
You know,
it's a joint.
everyone plays a part.
Yes, and I haven't heard how you take accountability is what bothers me. They just want accountability. You know, nobody's perfect. And in your letter that you sent out to everybody, you were saying, attacking the clerk over and over for the general ledger, saying that it's her duties. Then why were you in the general ledger from 2022? Until the board voted for you to not be in the general ledger.
Who was gonna do the bank recs?
But did you state that in your letter?
Wasn't she?
Were you transparent to let people know that you were also?
I will gladly tell them, I did them up until September.
Okay, why didn't you say that in your letter if you're trying to be transparent?
The bank recs are not the problem. It's
That's not what I asked you. Why didn't you say that in your letter if you're trying to be transparent?
Are you perfect, Marie?
I'm not
perfect. I make
Thank
mistakes
you.
every day.
That's all I want to hear from you. Your letter doesn't state that.
But why am I the only one being blamed here? I vote no on
Do
something.
you think
I
that you're the
never
only one
did
being
get
blamed?
payroll.
Or do you feel like you've been blamed?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Talk about it. We're not being transparent. And I'm talking.
This is her time.
Okay, thank you. The other thing that's been bothering me that I wasn't at this meeting at the time when it was talked about is you letting Al come into your office and take pictures pictures of security camera.
He never did. He never saw video footage,
And how
ever.
did he get those?
Didn't they get dismissed in court? Why are we going over this?
One
shit
order,
again?
it wasn't in court, it wasn't in court.
I am tired of defending myself to you and anybody else in the group. I'm over it.
In my
I
view,
come here
I'm
and
speaking
excuse
as
me,
a
do you want an
resident.
answer or not?
I'm speaking as a resident. It bothers me that Al was able to come in here, and if you didn't give it to him, Al, I don't know how you got access to it, to security footage without getting a FOIA request. Nobody else in here can do that. It's not right. Somebody comes in here and rents this hall, and they have a family event, and they have to worry about if you're gonna get access and take pictures of their events. I don't wanna hear explanations, wrong. I don't care how much you donate, everybody here donates. It doesn't give them the right, the people here donate time. They donate, does not give them the right to come in here and access images of people without a FOIA request.
Would you like to answer that?
Yes, I would.
I would love to hear it.
I came to the meeting.
This isn't a Q&A.
I didn't hear
Point
you.
of order.
I came to the meeting, it was a special meeting, and it adjourned at 6:32, I believe. And I was upset with the meeting, it was a special meeting, and I left and drove around the section. I came back and I thought, wait a minute, that's all the township board's cars. So I thought, what the hell? I got out and looked, and yeah, I saw people. And then I turn around and I find out almost 40 minutes later, you're still here holding the meeting in the back room. I always heard this freaks.
I was there.
How did you get access to
We're
the
not here for,
security
we're just
camera?
hearing what he has
Let
to
me
say.
That's what I
finish,
wanna know.
let me finish.
Now,
Almost 40 minutes later, I've always heard that 3 members of the board is a quorum, that they can act business.
this whole board used to go to
Can we
lunch
just
together.
please let him finish?
Would you turn around and shut your pie hole?
Point of order, thank you, Al, you're done.
It's all right for
Hey,
me
Doug,
to
right
interrupt
there.
him when he's
Yeah,
talking.
it's all right
So
for
if it's
him to
a group like that, yeah.
Wow, it's nice to see us all get along. Tell me what we're gonna do about that, tell me what we're gonna have.
You stay away from me or I will file harassment. You back right the fuck off. Just back off. Go right ahead. That's sexual harassment.
Al, thank you.
Please carry on.
Comes up here, blaming her, all he does, hey, listen, you guys have had your trouble with personality conflict. I wasn't gonna get in the middle of this, but I guess I'm gonna have to. This is crazy. Every board member knows this. You come to my house, I was just gonna let it go. Trespass, threw keys at my wife,
I'm pressing charges.
we was letting it go. We was.
So did you not want the keys?
We got all the records. We can
You're
do
throwing
it.
that at me.
The point is, this is nonsense.
No, I haven't.
All of them. All of them. I don't care who does it. We're paying this guy more money than we are in fines. Why can't we just figure that out? Why do we gotta keep going farther and home and fighting? What's the deal with that? I'm asking.
I'm not following around, sorry.
What is the problem with all this fighting all the time? She get up here, first thing she does, she's always blaming Heidi. And I know that you guys have had problems, and where I know you've attacked Heidi. But that's in the past, can't we just go forward?
I'm not doing anything.
I mean, I just want to say that 400 signatures ain't a lot. She's got a lot of support. It can go the other way too. Let's just knock it off and get along. It's something to think about. I mean, you want a recall on you? Not really bad, do you? Do you? Because there's a lot of people that support her too. Do you? Probably not. We voted for every one of you guys.
responsibilities, the timing that needs to be done, every job needs to be done at a certain time during the month. We don't have an IT security document where people sign and say, if you do this with our security system or anything else of value, you'll lose your job. And it'll be immediate. So once we get those things in place.
It's in process.
Yeah,
You are
right.
right, but however, because they're elected officials, that doesn't count. There is no repercussions.
Well, did she say we need a handbook?
Yes, we do need an employee handbook, but that doesn't entail termination.
We are not considered employees.
We are not
So,
employees.
yeah, they
We can-
have
there's
to step
no-
on themselves, or they have to find someone else to do the role for them. I get it.
But that's what the clarification of that is, that the only people that can hire any individual on the board is us. 100%. It is us as a community.
I don't want to fire
as
anybody, I just want everybody to do the job.
We hire everyone, we put you in office, but at that point, only by a recall can anyone be removed after work, right? That is my complete understanding from doing my research, that's what we did before, that's what we all did before, signing all the petitions and doing the recalls before. We were all very active, or you were kind of leading on the last one. My thing is this, guys, I have been reviewing videotapes from Callie and Facebooks, and that's just because you're the primary person I watch all the videos. And I hear so much anger, so much animosity from a group that came together to try and make the township better. Are we really this much back in high school that we cannot somehow find common ground to get together? Each and every single one of you are not here to be friends. Each and every single one of you are paid by the residents of this township to do a job. Doesn't matter if you don't like Heidi or if Doug doesn't like Mark or whatever. It doesn't matter, because the next group of people we come in here, one of you might not like them either. Does that mean we don't get along, we don't work through? We have a group that I believe we are paying for, that's supposed to be working on how you guys can best remedy the problem. Is that group not working? The last, yes. Tom, you guys have your-
We're not paying Tom for his services now.
Okay, but is that service not working? Whether it's free or we're paying for it, is that service not working?
The last I understood is there was, not all board members were interested in continuing to participate.
So how can we make that where all board members, if they want to keep their job, participate? And I will say, I do feel that relatives or family members of board members need to be acting in a professional manner. President or not, kind of comes with the same way that we expect the First Lady and the President of the United States to act in a professional manner. And that's just using that as an example, whether it's their children, whatever. I would think that all members, family members, should kind of like have a little code of conduct there, just a little bit. That's just my personal opinion. I have seen some things, and I'm not going to make comments, but I have seen some nasty things being flung around through Facebook from employees, from people on different boards, from people to making comments for family members, whatever. And I don't think it's a relative to any of you guys. I think you guys are all, each individual have great strengths. I think you all have great things to bring to this board and to this table. But if you guys can't respect each other for individuals, then none of you are good board members that can work together, because it's just going to be a stalemate. It's going to be an argument, whether it's this person or that person, and it's just putting you all together in a group. I think we can all come to a general consensus that some way, some form, you guys are all great people. How can we get you best to work together? And that's what I'd like to see. That's my outcome. My outcome is that each and every single one of you stay on this board. Each and every single one of you continue to have the respect in this community. And that we bring Lee Township, as we decided and brought you together, to make it a great place to live. How do we do that? That's what I want to know. As a resident, how do we do that?
Because I don't think continuingly, every time we see something that we do not like, that we are going to quickly go to, well, we're gonna recall this one, we're gonna recall that one. We're gonna be known as the lead township that just continuously recall people every time we don't like something. So what do we do? And I have to ask you, and I have to ask you, and I have to ask you, and I have to ask Deb, and I have to ask Heidi. Because each and every single one of you have a key component to it. It's not just one person individually. So how do we do it?
What about a mediator?
It's kind of what.
Well, they have legal mediators.
But can we remove the personal part of it out? Can we remove that we are here as employees of the township the same way that when you work at any place of employment, that you leave the personal reflections out of it? I don't have to like them, right? Just have to look. I can tell you how many people I did not like it, but I had to treat with respect. So how do we get there, folks? And I, as a resident, would like to have that answer. Because I'm very hungry, boss.
Well, I can't give you that answer now, sit here, but I think it's a valid, right?
Thank you. And if I can just ask each and every one of you to reflect how you could do something differently. It may be just, like you had said, that you had went from other supervisors, right? And sometimes the best answers are done and reflective and waiting some time to answer. And so maybe before we start getting upset or angry, we can kind of check our feelings and say, you know what, I need to revisit that at a later time when I can address that issue at a different time where I'm not so heated. And it's easy to do. I know it is. I know it is. But personally, as a township, I'd like to see each and every one of you come together, work together, and make a great new township. Possible?
I think so. Thank you, Sharon. Thanks for feedback. Any other public comment this evening? So I sent an email out Sunday to revisit that, yes. I haven't received a response yet, so the first tentative dates, so yes.
I'm Aaron Stevens. My wife and I moved in here just before the recall. Wanda Freeman, a lot of you might know her. My cousin, she's deceased now. A couple of you, she spoke very highly of. A couple of you, she kind of criticized. I was very well spoken, very strong. I don't know her, don't know anyone of it. I've known Al several years. I've known a couple more neighbors down here on Olson Road past me. And I agree exactly with what you just said. I'm only thinking that you must be one of the, what do they call them, deputies or whatever it was. But I don't understand all this. Worked at Dow 40 years, traveled all around this country, worked with people that I didn't know, and I worked very well with every one of them. A lot of them I didn't like, couldn't stand. They never knew it. You all need to learn that. If you can't learn that, I'd like to see everybody this side of height gone and reestablished, because right here's the problem. And you admitted in one of your meetings where we had a sign that said, you gotta get along, and I forgot who taught you people that. He was here. I understand. And I'm not picking on you, but you mentioned yourself, admitted that you had some medical condition that caused some issues that some of these figures may not have gotten. And be politically correct is doing this township a disservice right there. I'm pretty sure this fella knows where the problem lies, and I'm looking at it. So, Heidi, kudos to you. Keep doing what you're doing. Let the public know the facts in any way you can get it out, because if we don't know, we're going to start siding with people like this. So if we can't get this resolved, you all need to go. Every one of you. Keep her, because she's got the knowledge. She's got the finance down. And sorry, I'm not a good speaker, but y'all need to wake up. We vote.
Anybody else?
Yes, I would like to say something. somebody else is gonna have a different opinion, somebody else is going to see something differently. I think that we should be able to be humble and sit down and have a conversation with each other. And say, okay, what's the problem? Let's figure this out. I 100% agree. And when I hear about the recall, I think, okay, well, let's take a look at the people that have surrounded Heidi. And what I see is a bully. I see bullies from Al. I see bullies from Lane. I see Heidi as a bully and someone who shuts things down. So when I hear you say she's the only one with financial knowledge and she's the only one who's good up here, are you not dividing everyone? I mean, I hear you dividing everyone. And also when I hear, well, it is the people who can fire, right? That's 100% true. So a recall is 100% valid to happen. It's 100% valid to happen.
If it's factual.
Yeah, well, it goes the other way too. I don't see that what Heidi puts out as factual. I see a lot of conflict. I see a lot of what I hear here is not what I'm hearing from her. I have heard, point of order, I have heard Heidi say 100% I have gone into Laura's BSA. I have heard her up here say that, and I don't get that. You're not supposed to be doing that. That's Laura's ID information. And then when I read, oh well, words can be said and videos can be altered. I agree with you. Why can't we get along? Why can't we trust that the other person is doing the best that they can do instead of saying, well, you know, the other side must be trying to slander me. I simply said what I saw, Heidi. I simply said what I saw in a meeting. You can deny it, but we also have video. So,
would you like me to respond to that?
No, I didn't ask you a question.
You don't want to know the truth, then, do you?
Why is it only you're the one who has the truth? Only you have the truth. I never said that Laura's perfect. Never did I say that. She has said, I'm not perfect. She has said, I've made mistakes. She has said, I would like to go learn. She has said, I would like to go to different trainings. And I have heard you say, no, I'm not going to do that. So, thank you. I just want to say, I hear everybody's side, but I think that we need to understand that a recall is appropriate, and it's up to the people to decide, does it go through? That's all I'm saying.
All right, any correspondence?
Can I just say something? I'll be
Oh,
quick.
yes.
I just wanted to thank the board, you know, they have done a lot of things for the community, if we look, you know, that you guys have done a lot of great things. I appreciate that, my family does, there's a lot of improvements. I also want to thank the 4 board members that did vote for Raymond Group to come in. I would come to the meetings, and it was such a mess over months and months. And just as someone with accounting background myself, I was withering up and dying, you know, listening through this. You guys trying to do it yourselves, and then it wasn't working. So I can appreciate and say thank you to having this firm in, and we are actually on progression now. We see positive movement here to get us in the right direction. And sometimes that's what it takes if we're so far behind. We don't need to stay in that hole. So I just want to say thank you to board members that voted for them to come in. I very much appreciate it. And just a little side note, and I don't need to just hit on Heidi, but I read that letter as well. And so maybe, you know, when everybody's talking about getting along, maybe you do cut. Because it is, you know, there's various responsibilities that I would say you and Laura hold in this.
I'm not even slamming down any, these things happen. I don't feel like it's, he says it's common, I believe it, I've seen it too. So I just wanna, maybe we can quit with that, maybe you guys can move on together and work together and, start to help here, we can leave this out of print, because that doesn't help the community, so that's it.
Thank you, Courtney. Any other public comment? Is not any correspondence?
No, I don't hear that.
Any other business